Great to have you in the studio, Craig. Welcome.
Yeah, good to be here, Gary.
And Matthew Nix over in Adelaide. Matthew, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Wish I was there.
We want to start by asking around the 6-6-6 and what happened at the end of the Melbourne-St Kilda game. You've probably refined the close finishes as close as anybody, Craig. What did you recognise? Did you know all the intricacies of the moment when they happened?
No, it's difficult watching at home, and yeah, because you only see the broadcast, it's sort of what's going on. It sort of makes sense. The umpire did an amazing job. The way he controlled the narrative there and had real calmness in that chaos. And just going back a step, I was watching the game back, and I knew the outcome, but I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
A minute to go, or 2 minutes to go,
So
they had to, the Lee Matthews rule they had to kick 4 goals in 5 minutes.
You're just saying that your daughter had done the spoiler alert, so you understood the result, but then you watched what was going on and you go, no, she's got that wrong.
I know, I couldn't believe what I was watching. But the smarts, and I was only upstairs just watching your take on the positioning and just really clever under pressure and no chaos. Look at him, look how calm he is and just instructing others. And
so when they reset here, are either of you aware of the fact that they have to have the 4 who were nominated and designated to be there, they had to come back?
I am now.
Yeah. And that the ruckman's responsible for standing the mark.
Oh, I didn't know that either, no.
Yeah. What would you have known here, Matthew?
No, similar to Craig. The understanding would have been you need your 4 players inside the square, but the ruck one was an interesting one. So something that it's a good one not to be involved in if you're on the Melbourne side. But I'm a bit with Craig. I think the way the Saints went about this, just their composure in this moment. I guess you haven't got a lot to lose when you're able to push the green button and get all guns blazing. But geez, they did a good job to finish it off, didn't they?
Is it the sort of one that you'll integrate into a training session at some stage just for fun?
Well, last week we did our scenario stuff because we'd lost a couple of close ones which we're not really that happy about, and so we were going sort of one mode and the other after every centre bounce is changing modes, but we haven't done that one. No.
You would be, and again, your close finishing has been legendary. Your wins in close finishes. You would be a genius if you could anticipate. We'll put this scenario up, a 6-6-6 free kick that you've left and you've got to come back and there's 8 seconds to go. If you could have dreamt that up.
Well, we had the Cats earlier in the year where we were chasing their tail a little bit and still got a free kick with it. It was about 10 seconds ago, quick kick, and then Crispy marks it, and that would have been a real incredible picture if we got that one up. But yeah, these things pop up, and then there are opportunities to learn.
To what played out in the round, how, like it's a domination of a showdown, Matthew, and we know how much they mean in your town. How satisfying was that on a whole lot of fronts?
We were just chatting earlier about later in the game when it did blow out to the score it did. We would have been happy with a 1-point win, and in the end, the way our guys went about it, that was the most pleasing part for us. We just had our foot on the throat the entire day. Our guys are in a position at the moment where they're just so hungry. They're loving their footy. It's a rare spot to be in. We're enjoying it. We're going to do whatever we can to stay there. But come towards the end of that game, for it to be a showdown and for us to be so clinical, I don't think we've played a game to that standard, not for a while anyway.
No, in a remarkable round, it will get lost a little bit, and it shouldn't, because being there, watching it, was to witness a team that I think has arrived at the point where you really believed. And I know you've had some finishes. I did your game against Craig's group at the MCG where you were just close enough but couldn't get there, and you talked about taking the next step. Well, it looks in their own mind that they have arrived at that point. 103 tackles, 8 unanswered goals. Those conditions were the worst I've seen for 10 years maybe, and you were clean, and your hunger and desire to finish as well as you started was the most impressive thing. It was a really good night, I thought, for Adelaide.
Yeah, probably our most complete, Gary. You talked about the tackle, which is the most important for us. We always rate ourselves around our contest. I think we may have missed 1 or 2, in that 100. So to have a night like that where, things go right, you need a bit of luck, but it's hard work over so many years for these guys. They've worked on their bodies, they've worked on becoming stronger and faster, and you mentioned it, we've had a few close losses to Collingwood, and we have huge respect for them. We've done all the training when it comes to our scenario stuff. Doesn't mean you get it right all the time, but for this game, for things to click and for it to finish the way it did, we couldn't have asked for a better result.
The big boys were on fire. The three big tools, which people have asked good questions about, they look like in those conditions, if they could come together in the manner that they did. And then it was Pedler and Soligo and the guys that have to strive really hard to be in their best, to be their absolute best. So anyway, all that. It was a super night.
Do you keep an eye on the peloton at the moment?
Yeah, I reckon they're playing too well too early, Jared. No, I did. I flicked over. We had a VFL game on Saturday, and I was watching that with close interest. And then I flicked over at half time and started watching this game, and it was the conditions were horrendous, weren't they? And just they're so strong over the ball, Adelaide, and the contested balls are really strong. And then I flicked back and I couldn't believe the result. They just ran away with it. It was pretty tight, the bits I was watching, but really impressive right now. So
everyone's been studying you. Do you keep an eye on the teams that you can see emerging as potential September?
Well, we play this team in a few weeks' time, which is really exciting over there. We're really looking forward to that. Of course, I watch every game, as many as I can, and see what the trends are, and then we get all the stats during the week and work out who's good at what and other things, and and look at what they're doing around their ground ball, why they're so good at ground ball around the ground, and then try to implement things that either going to take that away from when we play them or things we can get into our game.
You've been out there, as you said, you've been out there on your own for a long time and well clear, 10 points and percentage at various stages.
Yeah, I said to our players this week, I said it's like the Tour de France. We've been a breakaway and the peloton's catching us. But we've got to be OK with that, because at some stage there's a level of it doesn't matter how many points clear you are or not, you all start again at some stage, and we've just got to get certain parts of our game right.
Well, you got Nick right. Not that how much credit you have to take. He's a super talent, but he's been a bit sore, been a bit bashed around a little bit, played a bit more inside than outside. But you've got his role. Went back with him and Josh playing off half back the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was sort of through circumstances with Dan Houston out. We thought Josh had an incredible last quarter against the Gold Coast, and Nick was just a little bit sore. And I just said to him, how about we play half-back for a bit and just, we'll go back to where you started in your first year. We took him away from the contest a little bit, so in this first year, because of the bigger bodies and the like, and it just allowed him to just play a bit freer, if you like, and then pinch hit through the midfield where it's needed. So, he's enjoyed it. He's enjoyed it, particularly last week and again this week. And 43 last week, 42. They're numbers, but this week game, if you get a chance, Nixie, to watch his stuff, it was pretty special.
I reckon Nixie will be watching. Don't worry about that. I reckon he'll be watching.
We're watching it. Don't worry about that.
Some of your blokes that have come on, maybe we in Victoria are slower to pick it up, but your back half of Worrell and Keane particularly are now getting the credit that they have deserved, I think, for most of the year. Michael Annie, you might be able to update us, he came off sore with a bit of a hammy, but your back six are solid. And I know that was a focus for you. Your first 6 weeks, you scored really heavily, but you got scored against. You've tightened that up beautifully to a point where it's right where it needs to be.
Yeah, the team defence stuff was an issue for us earlier in the year, and we went to work on that. It was only small tweaks, probably more mindset than anything, and a bit of stability behind the ball. But that's a team focus. I think our midfield have really improved their accountability. Our forward line pressure's been really strong, and as you mentioned, without taking anything away from our backs, they've been outstanding. For a young group, led by, I guess, Joshy Worrell, Mark Keane, the two guys that probably get put under the most pressure. We had Jordan Butts back there. Unfortunately, he's now out injured, but Nick Murray comes in and steps into straight into his shoes. So, really pleasing to see the guys be able to turn that part of our game around. And we know, when it comes down to it, that's finals footy. The scores against become the most important. I think you'll find Craig's team are the best in the competition at that. So, we'll continue to try and learn from others, especially teams like Collingwood, and we get them in a couple of weeks, as he said, and we can't wait for that challenge as well, especially considering it's over here at Adelaide Oval.
Gary referenced the three forwards, and everyone's taken a position on that. Why did you think and why do you think it works for your makeup?
Well, I think it works because they're quite unique, our key forwards. Tex being one of those, Riley and Fogg. I would say they probably played one of their best games of footy on the weekend, when some would say you can't play three tools in the wet. They're big bodies. They're all very good at ground level. Riley being the tallest of them, probably some of his best footy's played when the ball's on the ground. So it takes a fair bit, though. They're really working hard, knowing that when that ball does hit the ground in our forward line, they do need to bring pressure and they need to chase out. And there are teams that have tried to expose them at times, in the dry and in the wet. But, the weekend was great for us. It just reinforced what it is we're backing in. We want guys in our team that just compete, that give effort, no matter whether it's offence, defence, or if it's in transition. And those three that we're talking about, they do that for us. So, it doesn't take anything away from our game.
Mark Picciuto said during the call that has there been three better tools that can kick on both sides of their footy as well as these three blokes can. It's a subtlety, but it's a weapon for them. They go both ways.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it, Gary, is they're very talented players. So, some people might look at it as we're playing rucks ahead of the ball. That's not the case. Taylor Walker's obviously an extremely experienced player, incredibly skillful, and just understands the game. So he plays, almost like a small at times. Riley's quite unique. And Darcy Fogarty, I think most teams have a Darcy Fogarty, that player that's a little bit of a hybrid, that does it just as well in the air as he does on the ground. So, yeah, we're lucky to have them playing their best footy at the moment, and hopefully, as Craig said, we're not peaking too early.
Have you refined your thoughts around Jordan De Goey and Bobby Hill, whether one in the VFL's enough?
I've slept on it, but we still don't know because we haven't seen them this week. We haven't trained yet, so we'll be in tomorrow, see how they've pulled up. We're conscious of their loads. They've been at a long time. I was pleased with what they did. Bobby kicked 3 goals, but Geordie had his power back in what he was doing, and there was only trying to get it around 70% of the game, which they both got through well. So again, it's how they pull up. But we'll talk about it early tomorrow.
6 premiers. You got the 6 premiership players: Pendlebury, Howard, De Goey, Hill, McRae, Frampton, all just at various stages of getting back.
It's been a challenging period with injuries for us, and then getting through that as every team goes through it, and it's challenged our depth. But we've found opportunities for others to step up and take that while they've been given it, and then we're just slowly getting some of those personnel back, which ideally we get them back in the next few weeks.
All right, they're big games in the next few weeks too. Our coaches with us tonight, Craig McRae and Matthew Nix, continue on with a couple of years ago. So it is loaded. Round 21. Darcy Moore used a great phrase, which I suspect is yours post-game yesterday, sharpening the sword. What is sharpening the sword at this time of year?
I was just making sure that the big tickets are all in order, and then just looking for marginal gains. That's the language I use post-game. Yeah, it's all... I think everyone's probably searching for the same thing. But we're all still trying to qualify. Like, I'm not a ladder predictor guy, but I think that's pretty even, isn't it? Small margins.
The squeeze is on. How are you working to refine your game at the moment, Matthew? Or are you in the phase, first time in it, that it's the new experience?
Yeah, it's a little more unique for us. We haven't been here for a number of years, and our group hasn't either from a playing group point of view. So a little different to Craig and obviously the Magpies. But at the same time, we have some experienced people at the club from a staff point of view. So, we're using some of that experience and what they've been through. We understand that you do want to hit the finals at your best. So we're trying to work through that at the moment. Can we hang on for another month and still be able to perform for another 4 or 5 weeks after that? At the moment, it's just let's keep going, keep the momentum. We've been able to manage a few players through the last few weeks, but... we'll keep looking at that as we go without flirting with, I guess the win-loss part of it.
I just want to ask both of you as senior coaches, and nothing's come of this, so you feel free to comment. What did you make of Toby's comments on Tommy Papley as he's coming off the ground?
Look, it just, I don't know, if it was one of our players, I probably would call him in the office and just have a chat about it, what that represents us, how it represents us.
Yeah, I don't want to get too earnest about it. From my own point of view, I sort of laughed and shrugged it off, but I just wonder whether or not it's from a coaching point of view, Nixie, is that something you'd want to address with a player, or is it that just Toby?
Oh, I think there might have been a bit going both ways, but I totally agree with what Craig's saying. I think there's probably a bit more of an understanding now about mental health and looking after each other. And I know Toby well. I don't know Paps that well, but I believe, both of them are competitors, and there may have been a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, a bit of a joke about it. But, you've got to be a bit mindful around that area.
It was white hot at that stage, wasn't it? Yeah. In that game.
I think whoever said there was a bit going both ways might have been on the money.
Do you want to add to
Fix It, Jared, has been a segment. I don't think you've had a crack yet, Craig, so why don't you... Whatever you say, we'll put it to Swanee tomorrow night and we'll get it sorted.
In regards to what?
Whatever you want. Whatever's been eaten away at you.
In terms of the fixing the game, the game's in pretty good order, but I think the insufficient evidence for a touched or a goal line decision, I would look for better technology. I'm sure in the world there is a version of that somewhere, whether it's just even just at the MCG for grand final day, that I'd hate to have a game decided by an insufficient intent or insufficient evidence. Yeah, I'd fix that.
Nixie, you actually set this thing on fire. What was your first record?
It was last touch out of bounds.
Oh, that's right, yeah. We haven't got that up yet, but we're working on it. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, it's actually one of Craig's. I'm going to steal it. Hopefully that won't be the only thing I steal this year. But he was talking about it before. I like the rugby union model where the game can play on for advantage for a period of time and then be called back. I think if you could then have the someone upstairs in the umpire's ear that if there is a missed call, or if the umpire thinks there's an advantage, keep playing until he believes it's not and bring it back rather than the rules we've got at the moment.
Is that what you were alluding to?
I just think that technology is so incredible and having an umpire of experience in somewhere watching it live or whatever, and then they go, hey, that's clearly high, and then it's split second, and if you miss some, let them go, but the real obvious ones, that's clearly a push in the back, whatever. Why wouldn't we use technology to make our game better? But there's always going to be grey in it, and I think we've got to live with that.
Yeah. Saturday night is stacked. The Dacos retro gear has been unveiled as to what you'll be wearing, what your team will be wearing on Saturday night.
I've seen the jumpers. Yeah,
it is quite throwback.
Yeah,
the old AFL.
I just got to go back to my own wardrobe to just bring out the normal stuff.
Is it retro round this weekend?
Well, it is for Collingwood.
Oh, fair enough.
Another opportunity to sell some great jumpers, Gary.
Another opportunity for Pete to get another photo. Outstanding. No, we're looking forward to it. They are two great games of footy coming up. How's the town? Nixie, I was over there on the weekend. They're getting a bit excited over there. You got to manage that?
No, pretty calm over here, Gary. Everyone's keeping it pretty low key. No, and so they should be getting up and about. I think I did in my post-game presser. It's, we've had a pretty tough run for a number of years, our supporters and our members, but they're stuck with us. And so if they're having fun at the moment, it's like, go and have fun. Yeah. We're focused, like we're locked in, that's our job, and we're straight onto the Hawks. But, yeah, the town's buzzing.
Good stuff. Great to have you with us, Matty. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
See you on Friday night, and we'll see you Saturday night, Craig. Thank you for being here.
Good luck, Nixie.
Craig McRae and Matthew